Hi, and welcome to Android Coliseum Hangout 151. It's March 2nd, 2016, and we sort of have Mobile World Congress hangover, even though we weren't there. Still absorbing a lot of the stuff that came out, and one of the things that really made I think not maybe not a splash, but was really emphasized was VR. So Ryan, start us off.
Oh yeah, VR. So we're talking VR. Um, we saw, obviously, we've seen the LG Gear VR used for the launch of the Samsung devices. We saw the HTC Vive go on sale. We saw the LG 360 viewer go announced. So a lot of VR things out there, and you were talking last week, Cass, about how Coke was going to have their boxes, like the VR viewers. Uh,
Yeah,
Alcatel was going to have a viewer. The box comes in a viewer. Um, there's
one
what?
of the Nordic countries has their Happy Meal coming
Yeah,
in a
Yep.
viewer.
McDonald's. So I think the
Yeah.
VR section is it's something that's coming around. People are really starting to take notice of it, I think. And Google now has a section out on their store just to VR. Now, what used to be, if you wanted to go, there was like a Get Cardboard link you used to be able to use, which would show you all the different types of cardboard viewers that are out there. But it would still link to you externally to say, oh, you have to go to this website to buy it. You have to go to this website to buy it. So they now have a section on their website. You can't get to it yet, but if you click, you can click a link to get to it specifically on our website. You can go directly to their list. And they only have three. They have their standard Google Cardboard version 2. They have the Mattel ViewMaster, and they have this glass IC tech thing or whatever it's called. No, the downside is in Canada, all of them list as saying not available.
Of course.
But I think they were like $15. The Google Cardboard was if you bought two, it would be $25 instead of 30. So I mean, it's a pretty decent deal. It's nice again that you can buy it direct from the site versus having to go and buy it from some Amazon site or some whatever. So I kind of feel a little better knowing I'm buying it from Google. I'm just one of those brand kind of people, right? So it would be interesting to see that this is all happening, and I think gear like those that VR is going to be something that people are going to start really paying attention to in the next little while.
I think so. And with the Gear 2 as well, like Facebook is really pushing it, and love it or hate it, if it takes off on Facebook, it's likely to really,
Yeah,
take
very
off.
true. And I don't know. There's no appeal for me for VR. None.
I
Well,
could tell you, if the VR is going to do like the Gear VR does, like if I can watch Netflix on a Google Cardboard, I would sit back in my bed and watch Netflix that way instead of on a TV or on my. I'd prefer to watch that. It'd be pretty cool.
I have to say that I wasn't into VR until,
You
like,
get it.
yeah, until I got the Gear VR, and then it was like, oh man, I'll even just go look at
I,
reading
I
things.
don't see anything practical I can do with it.
And I guess it's just another form of entertainment.
Yeah.
It's not got anything practical to it. So
It
let's
has
hope
the
it keeps
same. It
after
has the
that.
same thing. It has the same feel of what I had back in the late '90s. It's gonna fade. That's gonna go away. It's a phase.
Well, we shall see.
Yeah.
Let's go on and talk about Google I/O.
Yeah.
That's
So
coming up.
talking more about things Google releases. The place that Google does all their releasing and all their big announcements comes out at Google I/O. Uh, so this year we know it's going to be happening on the May long weekend, so the 18th to the 20th, I think that's the dates there. Which we know because it canceled Droidcon Montreal for us, unfortunately.
Right.
But
Boo.
yeah, you can't compete against Google. But the event is now going to be going. So they have the webpage on up, and you can actually register for March 8th. So if you were going to go to DroidCon, you can't now. You can go to Google I/O, $900 for a ticket,
Plus airfare.
plus airfare and accommodations and food.
Hotel, food, and
Uh,
and everything else. Yeah, it's a
and if you
pricey.
wanted to sponsor one of us to go, I'll pay the airfare and my hotel and come that $900 for me. U.S. of course, because U.S. is the kicker part, right? Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, this is an opportunity. You remember the couple of years ago where everybody got like a Nexus, a watch.
Yeah, they usually do have, certainly if you pay to register, if you can get in, you get sort of your fee back in goods.
The
But the
whole
other thing
bunch
is,
of gifts that you'll get. Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
problem was that I think it was the one year that the next year they kind of went back to that lottery system. Well, okay, well, who's actually going to go in? Because there were a lot of people who were just enthusiasts like ourselves who want to go and get all the free stuff.
Sure.
And
And
this is
really, it is
about
a developer.
for the developers who are developing the next generation or iteration of a better operating system. Like, what is the new guidelines going to look like? How are you going to work
Hmm.
within those guidelines? And so, yeah, it's so. But anyways, if you're thinking about going, so it looks like it's going to be the same kind of lottery. So the idea is you register online, and they go through and take a look at who. I guess I don't know how they go through their selection process of who they pick.
Yeah. I think they probably have segments, like some for media, some for like the majority, of course, for developers.
Yeah. So it'll be
So,
interesting to see who, that go through. So if anybody wants to donate $900 for me to spend my long weekend in wherever it was in, is it Mountain? That's not in Mountain View, is it? Where they go? That was in New York, I thought.
yeah.
I don't know where they're doing it this year.
It's
Okay,
on the
well,
website.
none of us are going to get to go. So, let's move on.
Oh,
Not anytime soon, at least.
I'm
oh,
hurting us along here. So, the S7 is coming, pre-orders are up, and there's 2 versions. So, Martin, talk about that.
Definitely, the Canadian version of the Galaxy S7, the Galaxy S7 Edge, will sport a nice Exynos processor, 8890, and versus the Snapdragon that everybody's used to. But our American counterparts are getting the Snapdragon instead. So that's going to be an interesting one, because usually, like Ryan was saying earlier, the Exynos is usually reserved for the European market, and it should be interesting to see how that balances out.
I thought last year we got the Xynos in Canada as well.
We did. I think it was the first the first time it was released in North America.
yeah, because the
So
S5 you could get was the European
Was
markets got the
yeah.
Exynos, and we got the Snapdragon. Yeah, 6
And
everybody got the Exynos.
I have a feeling
yeah,
that Samsung is trying to push more for their own processor across the board. So maybe they're dipping their feet for the Exynos for Canada. Maybe eventually they'll make it the way over to the US. We'll see.
well, I think it just depends on what LTE bands they need. I think that's why they're still going with Snapdragon. But remember,
Mm.
Samsung is making the Snapdragon chips anyway, so
Yep.
6 one, half a dozen the other. I don't think they're too terribly sad.
It's
Per
going to be
se.
interesting to see how that pans out, or for whatever reason they went with the Snapdragon in the US versus Exynos. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it is their LTE because they have some different stuff going on
Which is
down there.
quite possible as well.
Um, sorry, Ryan, got any more comments?
No, I'm good on that.
Okay, be interesting. Um, I get to talk about Samsung Pay because I am pumped about Samsung Pay. I want it to come because it's on my watch.
Multipath.
Yeah. Tap. So yeah, it's I am a big tapper. I am a big tap to pay person. I always tap with my credit cards, debit cards, everything. Life is good. I tapped in New Zealand. We really,
I
really is
you
the
know,
only way to go.
I kind of agree with you. I can't remember the last time I actually used a card specifically, unless they didn't have tap and pay. But yeah,
Yeah.
now that the tap and pay restriction has been lifted, I can do more than $100 at a time. So that's actually really neat. So you go to the grocery store, tap
Yeah.
$400 groceries, yay!
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and to the point, like I have all the major credit cards. Hopefully they won't. I'm pretty sure they're not going to link up with American Express.
Oh
If
god.
they do, then I will have to hold my nose
See,
and
American Express is not useful for Canadians because most Canadians are either having a MasterCard or a Visa.
American
See,
Express isn't really useful for anyone because they like to make their money off pretty well everyone except
Yeah.
themselves. So
because the city used to be American Express, which was weird. The city used to use American Express for their corporate cards. I think it was only the past 10 years we've actually moved to the MasterCards.
we
But
used to
like,
be on
Hmm.
MasterCard. Now our company's on American Express. I'm pretty sure it's because they got to outsource their travel,
It's very possible.
and I won't even talk about that. It's just annoying.
but Samsung Pay, to be honest with you,
Samsung Pay will be awesome.
if I hear Samsung Pay comes in and I don't hear anything by the time Samsung Pay comes in, if I don't hear anything from Android Pay, I might, because my G4 is starting to get a little bit old. It's a little about a year old now. It's getting that itchy time for me to look at a new phone. Maybe I'll look at an S7 and start working with Samsung Pay.
Well, I think they're going to do the same thing that Apple did, which is basically link up with probably MasterCard, because I thought I heard that somebody had a deal with Visa, but maybe I heard the other way around.
And
So,
one of the reasons why I'm still gaming for Android Pay is because it will link to debit as well, and not just credit card.
I want to go Android Pay just because I want to be able to, if I go to a Huawei or I go to an LG or I go to a ZTE or whatever, I don't have to worry about it because you can't use Samsung Pay on a ZTE. That's my only drawback.
And that's true. And,
But for most people, they're going to stick with their phone for the length of their contract. I'm one of those guys that likes to change my phone a fair bit. I'd show you my picture of all my phones all light out ahead of me right here. Most are LG, but
You would need a solution that would work for you for whatever phone you're wearing that day.
you do need multiple solutions, but until then, I will be happy with Samsung Pay. So, between
See,
that and
I can still say multipath. It works for me, multipath.
I'm going multi-pass with the wrist, though.
that'd be nice. That's
Yeah, like that's the part that I'm looking forward to, because seriously, if I have to pull out my phone, I can pull out a card just as easily. So let's move. Speaking of things on wrist, Canadians mostly not interested in wearables.
Yeah.
Well, this is yours, Martin.
It is. There's been 3 different reports that came out, and it was a sample of about 29,000 different Canadian customers. And depending on how the question was posed, they came around to saying that most Canadians are not interested in wearable at this time. Not saying that they're not interested ever, just not at this time. They don't see the value for the money they're going to spend on the wearable.
Well, and I can kind of see that for what your wearable really offers. Like for me, I like it because, especially if Samsung Pay comes along, and I'm sure that that's something that the Apple people like about their watch. I don't need a lot of stuff on my wrist, and they think that until you find what you need or what you want, it's really going to be something that's a toy. And I think our economic situation right now for most people, that is truly a toy.
luxury item.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at this time, like a lot of people have been saying, most of the reason why they have, if they have a wearable, it's mostly for their notifications to see what's going on without having to go in their pocket, their backpack, their jacket, and just see, oh, okay, cool.
See,
Right.
but the thing is, I don't think a lot of people realize the extra stuff it does, right? Like it was funny. I've been telling to a guy today talking about how I can use the OK Google command on my watch, and like I've had this thing for almost 2 years now, and it's like oh, really it does like okay. I thought you could get like, dude, you're an Apple guy, and you've seen all the Apple Watch, and you've been like creaming in your pants over the Apple Watch for however long, and I showed you all the stuff that this 2-year-old device can do. And so I think there's an education people when they ask those people they asked, right?
Yes.
Do you want a wearable? Oh, what's wearable? Like a little computer wearing wrist. Oh, I don't want that. Is it just?
Yeah. Say computer, and people go,
I don't want another computer. I got a smartphone. It's one of. I think it's that there's a little bit of an education piece that needs to go around with what a watch is.
Yeah.
Like
and what it can do.
Exactly. Yeah. For the people that don't have one, I mean, and they see mine at work because I'm in the office and go like, while I'm talking to them or fixing something, they go to click, like, oh, what's that? I'm like, well, that's my smartwatch. Oh, what does it do? Well, pretty much anything my phone can do without taking my phone out of my pocket. They're like, what? Oh, yeah, I can just talk to it and I'll just do whatever. They're like, no. I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, well, what about the Apple Watch? And I'm like, this is slightly older than the Apple Watch and can do more. What? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
What I need the watches to sort of get better at, and I know this is off topic. Maybe the watches to get better at is voice recognition. Like how Google now only responds to your own voice. The watch still isn't trained to your. They don't let you train the watch to your voice. So my son can be like, "Okay, Google, show me pictures of funny cats," and I'm like, "No, I don't like." So whereas he can't do it on my phone because it's
Yeah.
My phone was trained to me, right?
But one of the things I do say about the wearable that we currently have, it needs to have a better Bluetooth link to your phone if it's set up that way, and it needs to have a better battery. Because right now, I suffer from battery drain if I don't pronounce the command correctly. If I'm doing
Mm.
voice command, battery drains in 5 minutes. I go from
Really?
100 to 0% in 5 minutes.
Like mine, maybe it's just on that one piece. I I can't kill my battery on my phone. I mean, I use the odd, maybe a dozen or so a day voice things, or respond to text or whatever. And now and again, it will just start cycling. Like, oh, I can't register. So I just like swipe it away and do it again.
See, once it
I don't know.
starts
I've never.
cycling, I can't get away from it. I actually have to wait for the battery to die and then
Oh,
recharge.
yikes.
Wow, that's something odd.
And this has happened on the Moto First Gen, the Moto Second Gen, and the Moto Sports that I'm using.
See, I didn't when I used the Moto Sports, I didn't have it. I didn't have that much of an issue.
They've all done the same thing, the same problem. I can replicate it on any of the Moto watches.
Wow.
Maybe it's I know with my Gear S, sometimes S2, sometimes it's a matter of background noise.
Hmm.
So, you know,
And
and
that also annoys me because most of the time I'm in a noisy environment and I can't use my watch at all.
But the thing
and
is, it's
that's
not
why
processing on the watch.
that's why I went away from it.
It
Seriously.
doesn't process on the watch. It processes it in the cloud. So it uploads it to the cloud. The cloud comes back with the computation, right? So,
And that's the thing. The moment the environment is noisy, I can't use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's why I went to the Gear, because I don't talk to my watch that often. So
And that's
okay
one of the
with
reasons why I stopped talking to my watch and I've disabled the feature.
So yeah, it's one of those. I think that we're getting close on
Not there
making
yet.
watches. Yeah, but we're not quite there yet.
Hmm.
I think once they become more, I think it's almost like laser surgery for your eyes. I knew people for a long time. I thought about laser surgery for probably a good 8 to 10 years before I bid. And that's the way it's going to be. You're just going to have to get enough people that have it, and you see it around. It becomes somewhat normalized, and you think, yeah, I can think of things to do with that.
I'm thinking by the time we reach the fifth or sixth generation of wearables.
Yes, and until then, really, people will be most happy with the Pebble
Mhm.
or a Fitbit, or something like that.
So
Or something
I'm
that
giving
attaches
it
to your watch.
I'm giving it 3 or 4 more years before it's
Mhm.
actually getting to a point where it's going to be much more useful.
I think so, and people will have sorted out what they want it for.
Mhm.
But things they might want it for, I don't even know why we're talking about this, Ryan. We're talking about Google's hand-free payment when we can't even use Android
yeah,
Pay in
I just thought it was
Canada.
the coolest thing we should talk about. They talked about this, I think, during one of the Google I/O sessions last year, or one of the other announcement events.
Mhm.
The idea being is that with Android Pay, with the terminal at a store, you could walk in and say, "Hey, I'm Cass, and I want to buy that watch," and the little terminal would use things like Bluetooth beacons or your phones. It would check back to Google and say, "Hey, I've got Cass Morrison requesting to buy something. Authorize that it's her that's in this store." And so you would go back to your phone to say, "Hey, where are you?" Like all these different devices will be able to tell where you are, and it would say, "Yep, that she's in that store asking for that thing by voice and by."
Yeah, and you should ask her, do you really need this?
Double check with her. Does she need another tablet?
Make her walk away.
Reminder: this is her 10th tablet this year.
Yeah.
That's just a reason for Cass not to carry any bags with her or any cards of any kind. Just walk in, grab and go.
Yep.
Okay, I'm Cass Morrison. I'm taking this. Oh, okay, good. Thanks. I just
No,
thought that was
wait,
so
you
cool.
must leave the store without it, walk around the mall, and come back.
Mm.
So I thought it was a pretty cool thing. So we have a little link up there for Google's hands-free payment, which I thought was a neat little device thing.
Yeah, actually, and it is just one of those advances in technology. Like we are living in the future, hopefully it will be accessible to everyone. A lot of the stuff we're talking about is pretty cutting edge.
Mhm.
Therefore,
Well, I mean, it's like a broadband internet that's just being kind of made available to public that people that are in rural areas, really outside of cities and whatnot, and they're just starting to get broadband. So maybe like in 20 years from now, well, everybody's going to be at the same level.
Well, aren't they talking about that? Aren't they talking about internet access going into the human rights? Being
Yeah.
bundled, sort of,
Well, Obama
the
talked
right to
about
clean
that.
water, the right to communication kind of thing.
That's something I think Obama was mentioning in the States, so that he was like
I
making.
mean,
But I think it also came up in Canada as well.
probably not in our current lifetime, but it probably will eventually go to that point. I mean, even Google is working on a project where they're going to be able to provide broadband network connection to everybody globally.
So is Facebook. So
Yeah.
between the two of them,
And it's going to happen one way or another, maybe not in our lifetime, but eventually.
Well, isn't Zuckerberg getting in trouble about his free
he
internet he
got
was
in
offering?
India.
Oh, man.
He got in
Dude's in
trouble.
trouble with everything nowadays.
Well, yeah.
Oh well.
But anyway,
Let's talk about the new Google Photos. So
You know
do
what?
you have that then?
Already have
I
it.
think I do.
I think I got my update for it. I didn't check mine.
So it came out today, the new Google Photo, and some of the major changes were mostly like Ryan likes to point out that new button bar at the bottom. He really hates it. But beside that, there was more changes done over to the album section category. Now you're able to see what's been shared with other people as well as what different kind of albums you have and what's in them, so you can recategorize and whatnot. So it's looking good. It's looking better. It's getting more updated. It's definitely a different look. I do agree with Ryan. The button bar is kind of useless. Like, how about just having that like pull up bar, take a look at what you need, and it just disappears? Would be nice. I kind of like what they did with Google Plus now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. Yeah.
Like I said to you before, it's a trend. It's there. You have to deal with it, and it probably will fade away eventually.
Everything comes in cycles. You'll get used to it, and then it'll go, and you'll be going, wait.
Yeah, it's sad.
Used to that.
It's sad when you get to that point where like I've already lived through the phase, and you understand things are in cycles.
Like bell bottoms.
And they're back.
Again.
Oh, I thought they're back.
Yeah.
Are they back again?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it was part of the fashion for 2016 autumn or something like that.
Oh, the one that gets me is frickin' Palazzo pants. I thought we got rid of those in the 70s, but no, they're back with the same freaking name. Those and gauchos. Ugh. Next up, mustard. Okay.
Good time.
Last topic we have is Android Pay.
Yep, Android Pay. I mean, we're at the point where we're able to add cards and almost get a confirmation. And it's not telling us that, no, you can't use it. So, I mean, eventually we'll be able to actually add something and actually use it. But right now, it's still a no-go on that one.
Yeah, because what used to be, you used to get you brought up Android Pay, automatically it would say, nope, can't use it, don't even...
Or it would just simply crash.
So now, you get up, it's like, pick your account. Oh, okay. Which card do you want to watch? I'm like, that's my Visa card, and it's already in Google Wallet. And like, okay, well, and like, enter your number in, and I get to the point where it actually asks me to set a PIN for your transaction account. And I was like, okay, do that. Okay, now I'm going to talk to your bank. Oh,
Nope.
we can't do this for you because you're in Canada. Like,
Yeah.
why would you let me go through all that emotional roller coaster?
Because they like to. It's like Lucy in the football.
I'll be
This
using.
time it'll work.
I'll be saying this. Google hates Canada.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I almost wish we were as small a market as apparently Poland, because they get some really cool stuff there, because they
That
do
should be
a
the
lot
testing
of
ground for
testing.
everything, eh?
Yeah. Like, why can't we be that?
Because we're right at the border to the U.S. and they'll rather test the U.S. market versus us first.
Mm.
Yeah.
But we're not even really like America.
Grumble cakes.
I know.
Anyways, I skipped over our weather talk and introduction at the beginning because we were running a little late. But now I've rushed us through. Anybody want to do weather reports, or do we want to?
Cold.
Cold. You guys got the cold. We're like melting every day.
We're back up to +4 on the weekend. So.
Oh, I washed
Oh,
my
Last week
car.
was +1. Then it went down to -30 with the wind chill today, and then it's back to +4 on the weekend. So
so yeah, we're just finishing a snowstorm of about 25 centimeters of
Saw
snow
that.
and -20. Now apparently we're going to be going up to +7. So that's going to be about 30 degrees difference in the span of maybe 14 hours.
Well, everybody's living in Calgary now.
So it's going to be interesting. And starting next week, we're going to be having +4, +5, -2, -3. Like, oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, that's about the same as we've got. And then we go on holidays. That's the thing. We go on holidays and it's not even really holiday-y weather. Like it's not super cold. And I'm concerned that we're going to come back and it's going
So
to snow for frickin'
what
ever
kind of
until the
holiday
middle
are
of
you going
May.
for?
Huh?
Where are you going for your holidays?
Oh, we always go down to the Cook Islands
Okay.
oh, is that
for
time
a
of year?
chance to walk in the sand with bare feet and stuff like that,
Well, that's lovely.
which we don't get to do ever at home, I might just say. So I don't know what difference the season
You
makes.
don't have sand out there and really miss
Getting
No
away
sand
from
in
the
ocean,
just
anyways.
just tar sands.
getting
No,
away
not
from the
even
snow.
that.
Anyways,
Oh,
Could be
well.
worse.
Seems like we're in a bit of a dry spell for reviews.
yeah, nothing really coming our way. I mean, I'm on a list for some of the devices that are going to be coming out. So as soon as they're announced for Canada, the S7, obviously, I'm on the list for that. The G5. The indication I got from the contact was they're going to do another seed event like they did last year.
Mhm.
Okay.
Sort of, so same as last year's, Tri LG G4. There might be some similar event where they would do that again to sort of seed the market, to say that people could
Cool.
start playing around with it. So we'll see.
That would be nice. I mean, I'm waiting on a few things as well, and hopefully they'll come in.
I'm just excited
Yeah,
to try. I want to try the Alcatel Idol 4 or
that
4S.
that does sound interesting.
I was really blown away with what they did last year. I really, really liked what they did last year, and I'm excited to try it again. It's just there was no date given for it yet, though. I think there was a price given, and I think there might be some information for like a European market, but nothing at all for North America, as far as I was understanding.
Well, maybe I'll have to import it.
We will
Yeah,
have to see.
I've already chatted with my contact there to say, um,
Well, Alcatel usually comes in through Staples, don't they?
Staples does distribute them, but I want to say when
Or is it
used to
Best Buy?
carry carried one of the things, right?
Well, I
So
got
does
a
Bell.
speaker. I think I
Oh,
mentioned.
yeah, you did the review of that one, but I don't think you mentioned it last week.
No, because I just got it.
It's
This
super heavy.
is a very heavy speaker. Like I'm not going hunting. I'm not going hunting with it. I'm not going hiking with it, and I don't think I trust it to take off the carabiner.
Lovely thing.
Although, having said that, I did just drop it and nothing happened to it. But it is a nice, like it's nice. It's got a light.
I want you to go in your backyard and just throw it around.
Like throw it for the dog, maybe. No, actually, and it's got pretty good sound. So now it's sitting next to my computer, and like in the summertime, it will go out in the backyard.
Yeah, why not?
But yeah, and it's funny when you get stuff from Air Miles. I know we were talking about loyalty cards earlier. When you get stuff from Air Miles, you're never quite sure whether it's sort of
Quality or crap.
old or or last generation. But this still is fairly new. So
Cool.
pretty pleased.
Cool.
That's
So I
fun.
think that's it. 30 minutes have run
We
away with
did.
us.
We wasted 30 minutes. I'm pretty surprised.
It's never a waste talking with you guys.
No,
Never a
I
waste
always
talking
enjoy
about
it.
Android.
We
Yep.
still wasted 30 minutes. It's fun to talk, but we still wasted 30 minutes in pretty quick time, too.
Well, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be playing this stupid game that I downloaded called Zenkoi.
No, that's what you were talking about in your post earlier.
We just got
Yes.
fish. I gotta admit, I'm getting kind of addicted to that little Juggernaut game I reviewed the other week. It's the laziest RPG out there, and it's kind of nice to be like, tack.
I had to laugh because
Well,
the
I won
person
the
that got me playing this said, "Oh, I find it relaxing," and I'm going, "Seriously? I'm way too competitive to find any kind of game relaxing because it's like, oh, must level up, must level up.
Like,
So
I feel like my dad going to yoga class. Just sit around here? Jesus.
Skip.
exactly. Well, on that note,
Yeah.
let's say goodnight.
All right, take care, guys.
Everybody, thanks for
Have a
tuning
good
in.
weekend.